Welcome to Theme 2 of the Rights and Responsibilities of the AQA GCSE Citizenship course. We're going to be looking at how laws protect the citizen and deal with criminals, particularly how are employees represented. In this video, we're going to focus on the top 3 bullet points, so the key terms to remember: what are trade unions, why they are important with some examples, and finally, why people join trade unions and what they do. Here are the key words to remember. Trade union, a group of workers in the same trade or profession who join together to protect their rights or deal with common issues. Employer association, these are bodies that represent the interests of groups of employers. Industrial action, these are types of actions taken by workers to effect change, enforce their demands, or make sure their concerns are being addressed. It is particularly targeted at employers and in public services, often targeted at government. Picket line. This is a boundary established by workers on strike, especially at the entrance to the workplace, which others are asked not to cross. Collective bargaining. This is an agreement negotiated by a union on behalf of its members about an issue, e.g. salaries. In workplaces, you usually have a trade union representative, also known as a trade union rep. They will often negotiate on your behalf when an issue arises with an employer. This negotiation and agreement is referred to as collective bargaining. Secondary action. This is when a worker not directly involved in a trade dispute takes action to support other workers. So, for example, if a group of teachers support issues surrounding firefighters during a strike. We've gone through the terms that you need to remember. We're now going to move on to look at what trade unions are, why they are important, and some examples. Here are some logos of different trade unions. See if you can guess what trade union this is and which occupational group they represent. What I mean by occupational group is a group of workers who work for a certain field. Here are the answers. This one here stands for Musicians Union, and the occupational group it represents are musicians. The second is Unison. The occupational group that Unison represents are nurses, behaviour mentors, some doctors, and so on. The third is the Fire Brigade Union. The occupational group that they represent are firefighters. The fourth is the National Education Union, and they represent teachers. The final is the Rail, Maritime and Transport Workers, and the occupational group that they represent are those who work in transport. Why are trade unions important? They're important because they help set the standards for education, skills levels, wages, working conditions, and quality of life for workers. They have achieved a lot in the past, such as campaigning for increased equality in the workplace, for example, equal pay, maternity pay, sick pay, 5-day working weeks, and a lot more. Trade unions are a necessity in the world of work, because it upholds the rights of workers. We've completed the second bullet point of this session, and that is what are trade unions, why are they important, and what are some examples. We're now going to look at why do people join trade unions and what do they do. Press pause and think about why you would join a trade union. See if you can compile your own list before looking at the list that comes up next. They can provide advice and support in personal disputes with an employer. They can negotiate with employers when employees have concerns and issues. Trade unions can provide legal help in disputes. Collective bargaining, the union negotiates pay deals. The union negotiates terms and conditions for workers. The union can organise official industrial action, e.g. strikes. Some unions provide training courses for its members to make them better at their job. Write a list identifying why someone would join a trade union. You might want to put them in order from most important to least important. We've come to the end of this video and we've completed this part of the session. In the next video, we're going to be looking at the procedures and rules around taking industrial action, as well as some examples of industrial action with case studies and exploring the impacts of industrial action and the role of the Trade Union Congress.